Dealing with Iran after dismantling the Obama-era nuclear deal, National Security Advisor John Bolton is in Israel today, hammering home the importance of a new way forward. Watch.
It's a question of the highest importance for the United States that Iran never get a deliverable nuclear weapons capability. It's why President Trump withdrew from the wretched Iran nuclear deal. It's why he is reimposing economic sanctions.
And there is now a new weapon in the arsenal against Iran. The State Department has created what they're calling the Iran Action Group to continue to pressure Iran into regime change. Joining me right now to talk more about that is former Connecticut Senator, United Against Nuclear Iran Chairman, and Kasowitz Benson Torres Senior Counsel, Joe Lieberman. Senator, it's great to see you this morning.
You too, Maria.
Thank you so much for joining us. Your thoughts on the formation of this Iran Action Group?
It's the latest positive, strong step by the Trump administration to change our policy toward Iran, which was not working. In other words, the basic thrust of policy as adopted by Congress and presidents for a lot of years was squeeze that country economically so we get them to stop building nuclear weapons that could hit us with their new missiles. And the Iran nuclear agreement didn't do that. I give the President Trump a lot of credit for pulling out of it. But now he's developed a policy center which is going to keep the pressure on Iran, but also be open if they come to their senses and they really want to negotiate a better agreement that stops the development of nuclear weapons and missiles.
Under the Obama-era Iran nuclear deal, U.S. sanctions had been lifted.
Right.
And now we know that last week, the first of the U.S. sanctions that had been lifted as part of the deal were reimposed. What's the impact of those sanctions? Walk us through what the significance of those sanctions are.
Okay, so the whole idea of the sanctions, and I was really actively involved in them when I was in the Senate, was to say to Iran, there's a price for developing nuclear weapons and threatening the United States of America. We also were saying in this United Against Nuclear Iran group, which I'm privileged to chair, was focused on this. We're saying to businesses across the world, you got a choice to make now. You can go into Iran, but then you're subject to American-adopted sanctions which say that you cannot have access to the American economy, the American markets, and the American financial system. And a lot of them stayed back. Some went in. But now with President Trump reimposing sanctions, some of those that went in are coming out of Iran, and others are saying they're not going to go in. And this is exactly what we wanted when we adopted the sanctions, and I know what President Trump and his administration want as they reimpose the sanctions. Because at some point, the pressure economically gets so strong that the fanatical regime in Tehran is going to have a choice to make between whether they're going to stick to their stubbornness and extremism and risk another Iranian revolution because the economy is so bad for the people, or whether they're going to come to the table and negotiate a really good agreement with us.
Iran has just revealed a new fighter jet that it claims was domestically made.
Yeah.
Iran's president says that it is about readiness to defend Iran, but he says he ultimately seeks lasting peace. Your reaction?
Well, my reaction first is that I doubt it about this plane. In other words, they've done these kinds of fake, ultimately fake announcements before, and they do them for Iranian domestic consumption. We're ready. We're strong. The Iranian Air Force is no match for the American Air Force or the Israeli Air Force or the air forces of our Arab allies. So this is a lot of bluff.
Let me ask you about those sanctions one more, because when I interviewed President Trump earlier this summer, he said he has no problem putting sanctions on European companies that choose to blow off these sanctions and do business with Iran. What are the implications of that? I mean, here we are trying to do trade deals with Europe, and yet European companies who decide they want to do business with Iran will do it and then face sanctions of their own from the U.S.
Yeah, so this is another way. In a lot of ways, President Trump is unconventional. And I think when somebody like me agrees with his unconventionality, we got to give him praise for it. And this is one of those areas. He's basically saying, as President of the United States, the security of the American people is his top priority. Of course, he'd like to get on with our allies in Europe. But this is important, folks over there, your companies in Europe. If you go in and do business with the regime in Iran that keeps shouting death to America, you're not going to be able to do business with us. And, of course, that's an easy choice for the European companies and a lot of the Asian companies, except for some of the Chinese, and they're making it in our favor. The trade is a separate matter, and we're continuing to negotiate with the Europeans and not raise tariffs and get into a trade war, at least at this point, and I hope we never do.
And the Iranian people are on the side of America, aren't they?
They are. I mean, a while ago, I don't know if it's still true, I bet it is, somebody did a poll in all of the Middle Eastern countries, and the only two countries at that point where America was more popular than unpopular were Israel and Iran. Most of the people in Iran really hate this government. The Iranian people have a great history, great culture. They're tuned into the modern world. They want to be part of the modern world, and these extremists and kleptocrats who are running their government are stopping them from doing that. There's protests in Iran against the government almost every day. It doesn't make the news much, but it's really boiling there, and unless the regime does something to deal with that economic distress, let alone the political suppression, they're going to be in trouble.
I want to move on to social media, but real quick, are there any catalysts that we should be watching in terms of Iran? Are they going to retaliate somehow? Can they, in terms of these new sanctions that just were reimposed?
I think they're going to huff and puff, but I don't think, short of a military action, closing the straits or something like that, but that's shooting themselves in the foot, because they still are doing trade on oil, particularly with China, some with India, and they need to keep the waterways open. So right now, I think we've got Iran in an inferior and I'd say a weak position.